The two neck and neck in Iowa just 2 weeks before the caucuses. Will the political mudslinging actually sway voters? Joining me right now, Basil Smikle Jr., a former senior aide to then-Senator Hillary Clinton, and Republican strategist Mark Serrano. Good to see both you guys.
Hello,
Mark,
Trish.
I'm going to start with you here. Tell me, do you think this whole New York values thing that Ted Cruz is invoking, does that play in Peoria, or better yet, in Iowa?
It plays with some traditional conservatives for sure, and that was his intent. But, you know, here's the risk for Ted Cruz, Trish. If you put mudslinging on a scale of 1 to 5, with 5 being the most effective, Ted Cruz gets about a 2, and Donald Trump gets about a 10. You know, Donald Trump can be in a mud pit wearing an all-white suit and walk out without a spot on him. He's just too good. He's been doing it for 40 years. He's very, very, very effective at working the media to his advantage. Ted Cruz was playing the high road for a long time, and he decided, I guess based on the polling numbers, that he needed to come out swinging at Trump, and it's a very risky business. So I think Cruz clearly is appealing to the traditional conservative base, but it's a very high-risk gambit because Trump has broader appeal.
Especially in this campaign, right? I mean, nothing is quite as it seems. Trump gets away with saying things, and people react differently than you might think. And part of that may even come down to this whole New York values. I mean, I actually think Trump was very effective when he shot back in the Fox Business debate. When Maria asked him about it, you know, look, New York has been through some pretty horrible stuff. And I was so impressed. I think all of us were. He said that New York was able to rebuild itself the way it did. So that, in some ways, you know, Cruz opened himself up for that line of attack. And at one point, you saw Cruz even having to applaud Donald Trump. I just think that whole, you know, it may play with some conservatives. I don't know, though, because at the end of the day, people do have tremendous respect for what New York did in the days following 9/11, Basil.
Well, you're not going to get an argument from me there. I'm a lifelong New Yorker, so I was really upset at what Ted Cruz said. I was glad to see that Governor Cuomo here in New York, the mayor of New York City, Bill de Blasio, to right away push back against Ted Cruz on this. And you know, Donald Trump has made his career here in New York, so it was certainly an open opportunity for him to go after Ted Cruz. And look, his supporters, Donald Trump supporters, like him in this format. They like him being combative. They think it's up to him to point out the hypocrisy among his colleagues who've been in Washington for so long. And so they want to see more of this from him. I think it works for him, but not for anybody else.
I think you're right. Likability. Ted Cruz, and Donald Trump hit him on this, doesn't necessarily have the likability factor in spades, shall we say. You know, and you heard there earlier from Trump saying that nobody likes him. You know, voters have to like you, Mark, in order to get elected. And say what you want about Trump, there's always a part of you that can't help but, you know, smile at what he's saying. And he delivers things with a little bit of a sense of humor that you don't typically see from these candidates. Cruz doesn't have that.
Agreed. You know, look, Ted Cruz on Republican ideology, on conservative ideology, he would be a terrific president. But there is that personality side that Trump is now, you know, bringing up and bringing against Ted Cruz, because he's got this sort of Darth Vader, you know, a personality characteristic that's being placed on him by the media and others, and Trump is using that to his advantage. You know, Trump is likable because of timing, because of his command of media and messaging. Trump is able to turn a rally of tens of thousands of people out. That is the sign of a movement candidate. Cruz is doing very well. He's positioned well in a lot of states. But look, if Trump can get those people in those arenas to turn out to vote, there will be no stopping him. And it's partly because they like his message. They like his fight. They like the way that he's going to turn this country around, at least as he claims, and they believe him. And it's because they've suffered for 7 years under Obama economics.
Mark, do you think he's going to get it?
I think I don't see anybody stopping him right now.
Well, You know, it's interesting. I go back to Howard Dean in 2004. Same kind on the Democratic side, same kind of energy, same kind of movement, candidacy. But the question was, do these folks have enough of a voting history? Are they really being motivated to go out to the polls to turn that intent into actual behavior? It remains to be seen. I would be surprised if Trump actually wins Iowa, because I think that would be more a vote about emotion
and
less
some people
about
would
sovereign
say,
problem.
hey, who needs Iowa anyway? I mean, you've had...
You're not going to hear me say that.
You don't need
well,
Iowa.
you know, Rick Santorum, Mike Huckabee, good examples of people that have done really well in Iowa.
All the open primary states are going to make a real difference in this race and are a real advantage for Trump.
All right.
He's got lasting appeal.
We're going to keep watching. Thank you so much, Mark and Basil.
Thanks,
Good to
Trish.
see you guys.